You ready now, Paul?
Ready. Go.
Okay. Roll call to order. Treasurer Hart? Here. Trustee Babel? Here. Trustee Blackstock?
Here.
Trustee Knotts?
Here.
Trustee Richley?
Here.
Clerk Matei here. Supervisor Westrick?
Here. Pledge allegiance. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Agenda's before us tonight. I hear a motion to approve.
Support.
All in favor? Say
Aye.
Opposed? We need an approval of minutes. It had to be for the regular and the closed session from the last meeting. I hear a motion.
So moved.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Presentations and guest speakers, we have none, it looks like. Consent agenda, there's 3 items, not labeled correctly, but we have a township manager's report. I've read through that. Anybody questions with that? April 2022 building permits and the park commission meeting minutes of March 22nd. Any comments or questions on those?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay,
Support.
okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Disbursements, we have invoices, $39,681.86. Payroll in the amount of $30,698.13. Accounts payable is $115,910.76. We have EFTs of $11,151.72. E-checks were $302.30 for a grand total $197,744.77. Anybody, a motion for approval on that?
I'll make a motion to pay the bills in the amount of $197,744.77.
Motion by support. Roll call, please, for the clerk.
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock?
Yes.
Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Next item, well, it's old business. We have, we approved at the previous meeting sanitary sewer pipeline pressure testing and grouting, and our DPW supervisor kind of forgot about putting a contingency in there to cover anything that might come up, so they're asking us to reapprove this to include the contingency, which is normal. Okay, it's going to be some work that's highly unpredictable, so they might run into certain things that he wants to make sure he's got the cost covered to do that. So if everybody's okay with that and there's no comments or questions, a motion to approve the additional amount up to the $28,096 for the pressure testing and grouting.
So move.
Support.
Motion made and supported. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Treasurer Hart?
Yes.
Trustee Babel?
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock? Trustee Knotts?
Yes.
Trustee Richley?
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, under new business, this is starting for our work for the water and sewer work that we're going to be doing in the township upcoming, and we'll need to get a bond for such. The state works with us, Eagle works with us to cross all the Ts and dot all the Is, and then we have to go out and get bonds for the work. We don't actually get a loan directly through Eagle. It's basically we have to procure financing after they've got everything, make sure that it's matched or done correctly. So the first item that we'd like to do is the resolution. It's authorizing the publication notice. We're on a timeline with this to get it done. It's a notice of intent to issue bonds and a declaration of intent to reimburse and bond council engagement for the clean water sewer SRF bonds. So if anyone has any questions or comments on that.
The only thing I noticed was that the amount we're going out for a bond is considerably more than we originally talked about fixing the sewer.
Yeah, we had that meeting, Ralph. What we decided is that in the environment right now, the water main, any of the pipe work, it's coming up to close to double for material costs just for pipes. So we can go down, and we will go down. It'll be the actual cost But we wanted to make, you can't go and come back up and say, oh, we bonded for 4 million, we need 4.5, we're in trouble. But we can do 4.5 and turn around and be less than that.
Okay, thank
So
you.
That's why we added that to it, and we may decide we don't want to do it all this year or whatever if the prices come back ridiculous. But when we get this bid out, we'll have a better idea of what exactly we're going to need to borrow and bond for.
We should read the resolution.
Read the whole resolution?
Yep,
You sure?
you can or I will.
You can.
Yeah, I'll do this one.
We'll
Resolution
take turns.
05-2022, resolution authorizing publication of notice of intent to issue bonds and declaration of intent to reimburse. 2022 CW SRF bonds. Whereas the Charter Township of East China County of St. Clair and State of Michigan intends to issue general obligation capital improvement bonds pursuant to Act 34, Public Acts of Michigan, 2001, as amended Act 34, in one or more series in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $4,500,000, the bonds, for the purpose of paying all or part of the cost to acquire, construct, finish, and equip improvements to the township's existing sanitary sewer system, consisting generally of lining of sanitary sewer along Point Drive, the St. Clair River, and Eldon, Loretta, and Morale Streets, installation of cleanouts and rehabilitation of manholes, and cleaning and inspecting pre- and post-construction sanitary pipes, and rehabilitation of 3 pump stations, including pumps, controls, and electrical cabinet replacement, along with pump station pipework and check and gate valve replacements, and raising the pump station on Point Drive above the floodplain elevation, together with interest in land, site improvements, equipment, appurtenances, and attachments thereto, collectively the project. Whereas the township has been advised by the Michigan Department of Environment, Great Lakes and Energy that financial assistance to accomplish the acquisition and construction of the project is available through the Clean Water State Revolving Fund loan program administered by the Michigan Finance Authority, pursuant to which the MFA would purchase the bonds from the township, and whereas the township has made application for participation in the CW SRF loan program, and whereas the notice of intent to issue bonds must be published before the issuance of the aforesaid bonds in order to comply with the requirements of Section 517 of Act 34 and the MFA presently in connection with various matters, including the CW SRF loan program, and the township consents to the representation of the MFA by Miller Canfield in connection with the CW SRF loan program that may be utilized by the township in connection with the bonds. I move for adoption.
You could do a point of order, the second page was.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's a whole second
you
page
forgot the
here,
back
Sandy.
page.
Sorry.
You didn't get that?
You don't. It went from, here's the first page, and then it went to here, but you read that.
Okay,
Sorry.
it's missing on mine.
You're
Okay.
mad that I asked you.
Whereas the township intends at this time to state its intention to be reimbursed from proceeds of the boards for any expenditures undertaken by the township for the project prior to the issuance of the bonds. Now therefore be it resolved that the township clerk is hereby authorized and directed to publish a notice of intent to issue the bonds in the Port Huron Times-Herald, a newspaper of general circulation in the township. The notice of intent shall be published as a display advertisement not less than 1/4 page in size, substantially the forms attached to this resolution as Exhibit A. The Township Board hereby determines that the form of notice of intent to issue the bonds attached hereto as Exhibit A and the manner of publication directed is the method best calculated to give notice to the township's electors and taxpayers residing within the boundaries of the township's intent to issue the bonds. The purpose of the bonds, the security for the bonds, and the right of referendum relating thereto, and the newspaper name for publication is hereby determined to reach the largest number of persons to whom the notice is directed. The township makes the following declarations for the purpose of complying with the reimbursement rules of Treasury Regulation 1.150-2 pursuant to the Internal Revenue Code of 1986 as amended. As of the date hereof, the township reasonably expects to reimburse itself for the expenditures described in B below with proceeds of debt to be incurred by the township. The expenditures described in this paragraph B are for the costs of acquiring and constructing the project, which were or will be paid subsequent to 60 days prior to the date hereof. The maximum principal amount of the debt expected to be issued for the project, including issuance costs, is $4.5 million. A reimbursement allocation of the expenditures described in B above with the proceeds of the borrowing described herein will occur not later than 18 months after the latter of I, the date on which the expenditure is paid, or 2, the date the project is placed in service or abandoned, but in no event more than 3 years after the original expenditure is paid. A reimbursement allocation is an allocation in writing that evidences the township's use of the proceeds of the debt to be issued for the project to reimburse the township for a capital expenditure made pursuant to this resolution. Number 5, township hereby confirms the retention of Miller, Canfield, Paddock, and Stone as bond counsel in connection with the bonds. The township has been advised that Miller Canfield has represented the MFA in the past and may be representing the MFA presently in connection with various matters, including the CWSRF loan program, and the township consents to the representation of the MFA by Miller Canfield in connection with the CWSRF loan program that may be utilized by the township in connection with the bonds.
Thank you. So we would need a new motion for that.
So moved.
I'll support.
One other thing, I don't know, make sure that you're aware of this in your motion. The bond council's engagement letter is also included in this action item, and the engagement letter is attached. That's basically our attorneys that are going to help us through this whole process.
Okay, so in addition to the motion
For
to
the
adopt the resolution,
And the bond council engagement needs to be part of that if you want, if you so desire.
and engage the services of bond counsel Miller Canfield, Stephen Mann, with associated cost proposed of $23,500.
That's a motion?
Can I ask one real quick question?
Yeah.
The the 23,500, is that out of the general fund or is that out of the bond?
That's going to eventually come out of the bond.
Oh, okay,
Be paid for by the bond.
Okay.
And then the next two items are the
That's
same.
what that says.
okay.
And I still give support on that.
Okay,
I guess since there's money
roll
involved
call
now.
vote.
Yeah.
Yep, Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock, Trustee Knotts,
Oh, yes.
Trustee Richley,
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes, Supervisor Westrick.
Yes.
Okay.
New business number 2, it's kind of an extending part of that, is services of the municipal finance advisor. The first one was bond counsel. These are finance advisors for these bonds. And they're approximately $20,800. The fees are tied somewhat to the bond amount,
Yes.
so.
Okay.
They said that it varies. When we had a conference call with them, it's going to be whatever. So we're going on the high side now, like we said. But
Yep.
Anyway, so the first one is for the CWSRF for $20,800. Any questions on it?
Budzinski was our
Anyone
manager
care to make a
the
motion
last
for
time we
that?
had a major
Water
project.
plant, yes,
I'll make a motion to approve this.
okay. Read that.
This here.
Yep, action request.
Approve engaging the services of Benzinski and Company, municipal finance advisors, and authorize the township manager to sign the letter of agreement with the associated costs proposed of $20,800. Motion to approve that. Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call vote, Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock, Trustee Knotts,
Yes.
Trustee Richley,
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes, Supervisor Westrick.
Yes.
Mr. Supervisor, the same question that my friend here had. Can you put that in with the drinking water bond too? or do we
That
have to-
also
do we have
goes
to
as
wait?
part of the bond cost. Yeah,
Okay.
it's in the
Okay, good.
bond cost, but it comes out of the bond proceeds too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
And number 3 is for the DWSRF. We want to get the finance advisor involved in this right away. We still would have to engage with bond counsel for this when we get the bond ready. But this would be a motion to approve their services for that particular item. And I'll make a motion to approve that. Engaging the services of Benzinski and Company, financial advisors, and authorize the township manager to sign the letter of agreement with the associated cost of proposed of $20,800 for the DW SRF.
Support.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Roll call, Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock, Trustee Natz,
Yes.
Trustee Richley.
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Westrick.
Yes.
I know my problem is I don't have a two.
Next item. Well, we approved the extension of the lease for the office trailer for our DPW superintendent at the last meeting. And I think you asked a more permanent solution, and I've tried to come up with one already. I talked with DPW supervisor and Cindy and some other people in township. And I'd like to see what they would come up with a cost and a proposed site plan and a needs assessment study for the building itself. Maybe we can do more than just a DPW building there. But right down here at the end of the street, Point Drive and Record Road might be the best place to put that. So it's not a big amount of money, and I think I'd like to proceed forward with that to find out that cost. So that's allowing us to authorize PCE to probable cost of $4,300 total for a preliminary site plan, conceptual drawings, and the needs assessment is a part of that. And I'd like to make that a motion. Any questions from anybody?
Is this, yeah, I have one. Is this in, we did this once before. They were talking about putting one down there near the DPW where it is now, off to the side. Is this in addition to that or instead of
Well,
that?
from what I gathered, that, I wasn't here then, but they did an assessment for a couple different places, and I believe one was where the existing building is now, which Lane didn't think, and I didn't think it's a real good spot to even put it. We've got some lines going through there, and it's small, across from some houses and residential there. The road's not the greatest. The other spot was Springborn Road, where the building by the water tower is there, and that's not
Too far away.
centrally located, too far away, right? So I kind of thought, and he kind of thought, being right here, the water plant's here, we're here, sewer plant's down the road, it would kind of make sense, and it's better access being it's this side of Point Drive,
And
so.
it's not in a residential area, which
Right,
I
we don't want to
think
go into
is
a
good.
residential area and
Better.
get more complaints, so.
Right.
I'm sorry, I can't picture where this is. Is this instead of the tennis courts?
It's beyond that, though, it'll be right on the corner, well, depending on setbacks and everything.
Well, it's
It would
not on the
start-
tennis courts, but it's on the other side of the court.
Yeah, starting on that corner,
The
coming this way.
Pickleball courts, I believe they're called.
Well, I don't know what's there anymore, but part of this is taking those down too, by the way, I hope,
Yeah. They're not me.
eventually in the project. But yeah,
Tom, did we ever have any other plans for the use of that property behind the building between here and Point Drive? I don't remember any.
Not that I
anybody else
recall.
does.
Many moons ago, there was the thought of a recreation center.
well, that's why I thought putting it that way, Herb, reserves a spot right next to us here for future. I mean, that would make sense. We don't need the
Plenty
DPW
of
right next to us
property.
anyway.
Right.
Plenty of property there.
So put them down
For
towards the
future.
end and whatever they need, and maybe part of that will be for additional, other than DPW, we don't know, but they'll do the needs assessment.
When you say
come up
DPW,
with-
don't, we're talking about more than just a building. Are we talking about a place, there gonna be equipment? Is there gonna be equipment there?
Yeah, I think-
Parking? What are we talking
When
about?
I discussed it with Blaine, my thoughts would be they would still keep the equipment and whatnot over on Springborn Road. They've got the
Well,
building
They got
there.
most of it out there.
Yeah, I mean, but their vehicles that they use every day and whatnot would probably be here and probably parked inside. And we could update the
Are
fuel
they
pads.
abandoning the
My thought is
place?
we'd abandon the old one down there.
completely? So everything that's down in the old one, you're talking about moving up here?
Going to this building or over to Springborn. There's a lot of room at Springborn, and I don't know what exactly he'd want to move there and what not move there, but that's going to be part of this study. What's going to go where and what accommodations we need to make in the new building if we do it.
That is
Why
going
does
to
it have to go
interfere with the
out there?
pickleball court, though?
The pickleball court's probably going to be interfered with.
Is that,
The pickleball courts are
But,
separate.
yeah, they use those courts for
Well, I'm thinking
pickleball
it's the
now.
same as the
All
tennis
been
court, so-
Updated and
Those haven't been
nice.
used.
oh, okay.
What do we?
No.
They haven't-
The only thing we've got
You
is the
said
old tennis
something
courts
about
The old
down there.
tennis
pickleball court, I
courts,
thought
The
it
yeah.
was-
old
I thought it was
tennis
gonna
courts, I don't
be-
know what they call them.
Because I
Yeah.
know people
What do
use
we
that.
intend to do with the
That would
existing
be-
facility
that one's
just
kind of abandoned.
east of
Okay.
the water plant?
My thought would be to demo it unless there's a reason we need to keep it or we can afford to save it, because
For
it's in pretty
storage.
bad shape right now. So
Is there any
there's a
any
trade-off.
plans on doing anything with that property?
It's behind the water plant. So
Behind
it's
the
kind of-
potter plant, all the way down to the
isolated.
river.
We'd have that option in the
Well, it could be
future.
sold if we wanted to at some point, but
No, you don't want to sell it.
I don't
Just
think
keep
so
this-
Yeah.
I don't
Right.
think so either. But
Our
if,
water intake's right there.
and, well,
Yeah.
if the water
Off the
plant
front of
needed to
there.
put up another tank or whatever they might need,
Well, there's an
we'd want to
intake
reserve
back there,
that.
too,
We'd want to
of course.
reserve that for something, if they needed it. But as far as the existing building, I'd probably come down.
Okay, the only other thing I'd mention is in that same area, which Blaine and his folks have been kind of keeping tabs on, there is a abandoned, deep, old pumping station that is, well, basically a hazard if it is not either cleaned up and
The sewer pump
or
station?
blocked off.
Sewer pump station?
Is that one in the little old brick building?
Yeah, you climb down in there,
Yeah,
it goes,
that's
it's
the
pretty,
bad.
it's a nasty place
Yeah,
down
the
there.
building is
And because it's been
a
right with
hazard.
the DPW, they've been kind of keeping track of keeping the door locked. If you take everybody out of there, we're gonna have to address that.
It's
particular-
abandoned though?
You're gonna have to address, yeah, it's an abandoned place, it was just
Well,
never,
that'd be part of the demolition plan then.
If I can say that they did include that in their original plan to demo that,
Yeah.
building a new structure in the
Okay.
first round. So
Okay.
they would include that.
Yeah, we'd come back with a demolition plan and a reuse for that and decide what we want to do, but that's obviously got to be
yeah,
addressed.
I highly recommend that we do something with it, because that, without somebody down there all the time and a fence around it, that's
It's only a matter of
dangerous.
time.
Somebody's gonna fall in.
Right.
Okay, nothing, I have nothing for it.
I'll support.
I think I made the motion.
You did,
Well, that's for money, so.
4,300.
Yeah.
Roll call vote, Treasurer Hart,
Yes.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock,
Yes.
Trustee Netz,
Yes.
Trustee Richley.
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes. Supervisor Westrick?
Yes. Okay, new business 5, kind of stemmed from the last meeting, where we gave a waiver for the fees for the emergency runs. So hopefully everybody's had a chance to look through the ordinance, which is attached. And we're going to need to decide what we want to do with this going forward. As different options have been discussed, but we really need to talk about what we really want to do with it. And it's an enforcement's problem. Some of the problems are, should we be charging these people? We also have abuse of the system in a tune of a lot of money on couple of certain occasions. I've done some checking around. I know Ira Township, that according to, I talked to Tri-Hospital EMS, they follow what the patient does at the hospital to get their money back when they bill for their ambulance service. From what they told me, and I don't know for sure, but they said Ira Township only collects for medical runs on accidents for people that live out of town and don't live in their district,
But I'd have
like
to
out of state. And I'm like,
question
do you
how
chase
successful that is,
I was
number
gonna
one.
say, we used to do that,
That's huge.
and that was like the worst part of
I
trying to collect from
Can't
somebody
even
that
imagine wanting to try to do that.
wasn't
but
around here.
Again,
It's-
I leave it to you
It's
to
horrible.
tell me, or to advise us what we want to
I
do
would
with this
suggest a
policy.
work session. I think there's a lot of variables in here with commercial properties and things that affect the whole, or whether we want to do away with the whole thing, and,
Yeah.
I mean, I think
No
there's a
such thing
lot,
as a free lunch, somebody's gonna wind up paying for it.
there's a
Right.
lot of variables, I think.
Well, I
a work
agree.
session would be
I wrote
helpful.
down the same thing. I mean, if everyone's agreeable to it, maybe we could have a short session before our next meeting as a work session.
Also, I've been around there for a little while, a couple, 3 different times. In general, it works. We have a couple, 3 that come in with you. Either 1, they complain, or 2, they're difficult to collect. But in general, when you have something like this in print, most of the people follow it.
Right.
And if you take it completely out, and make it a free-for-all, I think you're in trouble. I don't see nothing wrong with the way we're doing it right now, and that given the fact that we are going to have occasional disputes.
Well, we would need to update the ordinance then to include reasons for granting a waiver. We would need to also, I think you asked about enforcement, as they occur over the two runs, whether it be in January or
You don't get too
September.
many that are over, and the ones that are over
Yeah,
usually pay up,
but
except for a few.
we're billing once a year now, and you brought up maybe as they
It
incur
can be
it.
done quarterly. The reason
Yeah.
it was
Right.
done once annually
Right.
was we were still trying to figure out the best way to pull all that information together. We have several addresses that have more than a dozen infractions. And I think what I also would like to make sure that comes out of that workshop is the ordinance requires us to collect it at all costs and to the full extent of the ordinance, which means engaging collection agencies and/or attorneys. So we'll need direction on how you want to pursue that
Right.
for these that are obviously, as you say, repeat offenders, possibly do not have the finances, and yet we're going to spend a lot of money to pursue that. So
Get
we'll
nothing.
need some direction on that from your staff
W-
level.
Do we spend more money trying to collect them than we would be if we just paid them?
I have
We
not
probably
been
would.
directed to go through the collection agency process, but I'm asking the board, tell me right now, because we have several that are in violation up to the tune of several $1,000s, so we need direction. I can't go and pursue those without direction as exactly how to do that.
I'm not sure, but and I could be wrong, but I think collection agencies are paid by, they take a percent of whatever they recover. It doesn't
Right.
really cost us anything to turn it over to them.
Well, there's administrative costs that they charge you, and they take a
Attorney
percentage
fees
of
and court
what
fees,
what you
have to
get.
go to court.
And we had, in Cotterville, we had tried that also, and we ended up taking it over because we were paying out more than what we were
That was
getting
worth
in. And the other thing comes up of, I know this says lien on the property, but as Sandy mentioned before, what do you do with renters?
These are typically the ones that are the
They're the ones that,
Biggest
I-
users.
they're the problem ones.
Yeah,
repeat, and we need direction as to what to do with those as a staff.
Right,
The repeats are typically non-property owners.
correct.
Multiple, I mean, we, typically the property owner ones, maybe 3 to 4, I've seen at the most, maybe 5.
7 o'clock, okay,
But the ones we're
yeah,
talking
follow
about
up,
are
we
more
should
than a
do it more.
dozen.
For
For
work session.
6 months, so. some
Yeah.
of them are
I'd
upwards
say
of
6:30.
20 more.
What does everybody think about a work session before the next meeting then? Maybe 6:30, give us a good hour to go over that? And then if there's anything left after an hour, it's on our own time. Is that okay with everybody?
That sounds good.
I think that'd be a good starting
Outside of
point.
taking them to court, I don't know what you're gonna do about it.
There's no extra pay for that, you still gotta come. All right,
You get the
so
attorney
what do we need to
involved
do?
and take them to court, the numbers go up really quick.
Meeting 6:30, okay.
Okay,
You can
next,
take them to court with an attorney, but the cost of doing that's probably worth more than what you've ever.
Exactly.
well, that and court cost as well, yeah.
yeah, we had
And-
been
and
through all that.
Unless you're just doing it for the principle of the thing, to let people know that, no, you really gotta pay it.
Some of them we might need to, but
When you probably won't
We
need it
ended up
anyway on the
doing
biggest expense.
A special assessment, a millage.
So, yeah,
on the
let's do a work
taxes.
session, there's a lot to talk about,
next item,
other than,
that's all about me, sorry.
That's interesting.
I would like to have a conference table and some chairs
That's what
for
we did.
here in the
There's a fund that
boardroom, because
paid
this
for
is the
those.
only area we have to meet with people. We've had several meetings since I've been here with different people, DTE, and they're coming again in 2 weeks to go over the amount of the new taxable assessment that's gonna be on the rolls for the new Blue Water Energy Center, and the Sam's Club tables that we pull out. I don't know, I think it'd be nice to have a conference room here. Irene found one that kinda matches our table that we have up here, and some average chairs that we can put over here on the side, and then it's a bigger table if you need it too, for your
Can use
elections.
the chairs here.
They aren't as nice as this.
I have
They're not
hated
as nice as
these
this.
I have hated these chairs from day one.
Oh, they're
Well, they were only $149, so I can't imagine they're gonna be very much nicer than these.
These are,
But I think it's just a good addition. I just felt a little bit uncomfortable with some of the people, these DT guys coming in and everything, and we're sitting around a plastic table.
Yeah,
I've got money in the budget to use for it, so that was my request. Anybody got any questions or anything on that?
How big is this thing?
16 feet long. They proposed 12. I said we
16
need
by what,
16.
4?
Yeah, it's a little bit, I think it goes out a little
What
bit
are you
wider.
gonna do with the 16 by foot 4 table when you have an election?
Well,
Right.
we talked about
my
that. We'll either carry it out, put it somewhere, or if you can utilize it in the corner somewhere, we'll do that.
That's, I'm wondering, there are other things that this room is used for, and I'm just wondering, will that interfere with anything?
Mm-hmm. Elections is the only thing we talked
Will that
about.
interfere with anything important?
Yeah, Sandy brought that up, so we can either get DPW guys to move it for us for the day if we need to, for the big elections, or if it can be utilized, then we'll do that. I don't know if you can utilize it for
Just
something along the wall there,
think about it.
or stuffed in the corner here. I don't know.
No.
This isn't movable, right?
This is,
Yeah, it all comes
It'll
apart and
come
it's
back.
on wheels.
Oh, well, we can move it out of the way.
To check people into this.
we will be tomorrow, but they haven't in the
Yeah.
last couple of years. They did it differently, but, yeah. I guess as long as it could be moved, it's mobile. That size is gonna be very
Yeah,
cumbersome.
heavy, yeah.
I don't know if there's any options of like, would it come apart or could it be assembled?
Yeah,
You know
because
what
we
I
gotta
mean?
pay to put it together.
Kinda like this table, if you had to, you could,
It is assembled. It could be disassembled, but I don't think it'd be hard to move. I really don't. It's not solid wood or anything like that.
Put some wheels on it, real good.
but
Yeah.
where would it go? That's where do you put a 16-foot table?
It's not gonna go anywhere but in here. It'd just get moved around in here, cause
I can
that's
see
not
it
gonna
be
fit
shoved up
anywhere else.
against the wall, back in a corner
That's-
like.
that's what I was
And you
thinking.
would use it for stacking your papers and stuff on it. It's possible. I just wouldn't think if anybody else thought of anything else that it would prohibit you from doing. This is I think your elections is the biggest
That
activity.
is my biggest concern.
That is
We
the
were
biggest
already
activity.
so, with space-wise.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, we're August and November. I realize it's every 2 years, but it's literally,
Like, I strong arm Blaine into saying he'd move it if we needed to.
I just don't know where
I'll be
he'd
here
move it
helping.
Yeah, I
to.
guess
I'll be here
not.
helping him.
where would be my question. Anyway, that'd be my
It'd
concern.
be possible to roll it out the door and put it in the same place that smaller table is out there, than a smaller table put in the storage room.
Well, if it's 16 feet
16
long,
feet.
it's not gonna fit in that lobby.
16, you're right. That's only about
I
12.
think that's
isn't
what we
it?
settled
All
on.
right.
Could there be a
Never mind.
little, maybe a little smaller size that you might be able to manage?
Well, we thought about getting
Somewhere.
12 chairs around it, just because that would accommodate almost any meeting size. Like, if we do our work session, we could use that instead if
about-
we want.
2/8.
I can find out if it comes in apart.
I'm just, everything in this room comes and goes during these times when we have elections.
Well, it's gonna come apart, so worst case, we can take it apart. And then you'd have 2/8,
That would be-
or
Yeah.
3/5, what is it, 5.5, whatever?
I guess if that could be an option, I think that would
Yeah,
be
it can come apart,
something
but
good to look into.
I think it's easier to move it.
Right, and find a place to put it
Yeah.
temporarily.
Absolutely. I know that was the only question I had for it, too.
Other than that, it's a good idea.
Anybody else?
So we can wait to see if we can get a smaller table or two.
I think it'll come apart in half.
Or do we want to approve this up to this amount? And then if
That's
you can get
that's the price they
to
gave us.
8 foot?
Yeah, you can do that, and I'll make sure that it comes apart. Because it's kind of like got a little oval thing to it, you know what I mean?
Well, that's a good idea, Vern, is you like a 16-foot table, fight 2 8-foots.
Well,
Right.
but they're not square. You know, a conference table got that,
But they make some that,
but it comes apart in halves.
But does it have proper support to be apart?
I don't know. Looks like it.
That's my question.
Right.
Well, I'll find out. Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll make sure that that
it
we
would
got a
be,
place
it
to
would
move
be
it.
easier to maneuver stuff in this room, which has to be used a lot, if it was a little smaller. And if you
Right.
want a bigger table, get 2 of them that in some manner fit together, and I know they make them that way. It's just a
Yeah,
matter of
they
collecting.
do.
Yeah.
They do.
Just a matter of looking for which one you want. You want the table, but make it a little bit, smaller so that it can be maneuvered around in here, either taken out or shoved in different corners,
Right.
I think would help a lot.
I think it would be more functional, more usable
Yeah.
if it
Yeah.
was like 2/8.
And when we get our new conference room built,
Hey, don't talk about that yet.
we can get a 16-foot table for it.
I don't wanna spend $4,000 and then not have have to turn around.
I think I'll look into it a little bit more about, because of what we've
Well, you
got,
wanna,
get it,
Do you
what
want
we
me to
got
find
here.
out?
Table it first, or
not
For
really.
tonight?
Cause I got DT coming in 2 weeks. Why don't we just approve no more than 4,500 and I'll make sure that it comes apart, or get a smaller one. I'll make sure Sandy's happy. Cause it might be more to get 2 halves. And that way there, you can put them against the wall and use them for something. But, cause you're right, if it's not made to
Right.
sit on its own,
Right, it's not,
and
taking it apart's not
Ralph's
gonna do
right,
no
they
good.
do make them that way.
Yeah,
This is just one they had in stock.
I mean, in the meantime, Cindy has a table in her room that
Yeah, we got.
could
they
be
got,
moved if
We
possible.
got, we got like 10 people coming for that
Yeah.
meeting, that's just all I was saying with DT people, but.
Oh, chairs cost more to take.
well, I will make a motion to spend up to 4,000 to purchase a conference table or 2 8-foot conference tables. Whatever is compatible for your conference table needs. And the chairs, 12 chairs and a table that can be put into 2 or 2 that can be put together for up to 4,000.
I'll support it.
You'll have to call the roll again.
Roll call vote, Treasurer Hart,
Yeah, I guess, yes.
Trustee Babel,
Yes.
Trustee Blackstock,
Yeah.
Trustee Knotts,
Yes,
Trustee Richley,
Yes.
Clerk Matei, yes, Supervisor Westrick.
Yes. Good,
Thank you.
that's a gift, I call
I don't have any announcements unless anybody else does.
Curbside chipping has been moved from this Wednesday, May 4th, to Thursday, May 5th.
Right, in case of any residents.
So DPW will be coming around Thursday.
Anyone else?
Our
none.
school election will be here tomorrow. Polls open at 7 a.m. till 8 p.m.
It's just school, isn't it?
Yes, East China School District election.
All right. Anyone else? Hearing none, motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Support for that?
Support.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
We're adjourned.
Bless you.